Mark's Gospel, the first Gospel to survive, it was written around 70 Common Era, indicates that Jesus was in too much pain to say anything from the cross except the opening words of Psalm 22, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Mark gives it in Aramaic this way, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Matthew's Gospel, written a decade or so later, agrees with Mark. The author of Matthew's Gospel had a copy of Mark's earlier Gospel and wrote out many of Mark's passages verbatim. One small change is Matthew changing the Aramaic word Eloi to the Hebrew Eli. Matthew gives it this way, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Luke's Gospel was written around the same time as Matthew's, but in another city unknown. Luke and Matthew were not influenced by each other, but Luke had a copy of Mark's earlier Gospel. Luke copied many of Mark's passages, but not what Mark reports about Jesus on the cross. Luke rejected Mark's view that Jesus was in pain on the cross. Luke puts several speeches in the mouth of Jesus, none of them hinting at the despair reported by Mark and Matthew. Luke's Jesus cites a psalm from the cross, but not Psalm 22. Luke has Jesus quote Psalm 31, "Into your hands I commend my spirit." It is unlikely that anyone preserved what the historical Jesus actually said at the cross, if anything. The same is true for what the historical Jesus said at the trials that supposedly took place. Roman soldiers near the cross would not have cared what any prisoner said, and followers who would have cared fled or were prevented from being at the cross for obvious security reasons. None of the 7 last statements meet the basic criteria of dissimilarity and multiple attestation. Instead, all 7 last statements sound like the kinds of utterances followers would like to have Jesus say. He quotes Scripture, he forgives, and so on, which is a good indication that they were fabricated long after the event.